for joining me back here with another video with piano music and repair. Today's video we're working on a console piano action. I've actually needed to take this action back to where I can actually work on it completely. It's a console piano. It's a Kohler and Campbell piano action I'm working on today. But today I kind of want to give a demonstration and explain a little bit on the springs. The hammer butt springs. The hammer butt spring, basically, you have your hammer butt, and then you have the hammer on top, the hammer shank, and all that. The hammer butt spring, when the hammer butt spring comes out, like when the hammer butt pushes forward towards the string, the hammer butt spring kind of pushes the hammer butt back, so it returns very quickly. And we have a few hammers that are a little sluggish on this piano. And I knew exactly right off the bat what was causing it, and I pulled the action, and I looked behind it, and I don't know if you can see this or not. I can zoom it in, but you can see a spring. It's actually sticking out from in front of the damper right there, if y'all can see that spring. I got me a decent tripod today, though, that I'm working with. You can kind of see without the dampers, you can see the very rear side of the piano action actually doesn't have dampers, and you can clearly see all the springs. The hammer butt springs are here. So right here is the hammer butt. As you can see, this is the hammer. So if like I push a hammer forward, you can kind of see you got the hammer, then you got the hammer shank, and then you have the spring rail, which is this piece right here, and then you have the spring rail felt, which is what the felt is covering the spring rail. And the spring rail is where you have the springs coming down. As you can see, the green parts, it's like a green lubricant. It's kind of like I like to call it like a green graphite type something. I can't exactly tell you exactly what material lubricant it is. But anyway, and you can kind of see these little springs here. You can see these little shiny things through the springs, and then that is part of that is the hammer butt behind it. So when I pull up a hammer, you kind of see there's a spring. It's coming down from the spring rail, and it helps push that hammer back. And without the spring, it's very sluggish, and I'll show you down here how to fix that. So basically, all you need to do is to fix that. Sometimes they have to be replaced, and I'll show you how to replace them in another video. But a lot of times you can use a tool to get into the piano without pulling the action to fix them. If the springs are really old and they begin to fall off, then most cases you won't have to pull the action to actually replace that spring. This piano does, I'm pretty sure, I don't know for sure, I need to get down farther into here to find out. I'm pretty sure this one's about to need replaced, but they'll get old over time, they'll rust, and they'll just get weak, and then they'll end up falling off. When you try to adjust them, they end up just giving out. So when that happens, all you got to do, and sometimes they don't even have to fall out. Sometimes you can't get back in there good enough to actually reposition the springs into the hammer butt. And sometimes you would have to pull the action and then pull out the dampers to actually get in there to behind it, where you can actually use your hands to do it instead of using a pair of tweezers or something to get back up in here. But a lot of times the hammer butts, the one I'm working on, has got like a lubricant. Sometimes they'll have felt. I think the lubricant works a lot better because it slides easier. With felt, it can get all old and nasty, and it won't grip as good. Not grip, but it won't slide as good as the lubricant does. So the first thing I'm going to do to pull these dampers, as you can see, I got a few dampers right here. This is a damper, and there's a screw right here on this damper. Y'all can see the screw. And then you have the whipping flange right here. The whipping flange is kind of like a hinge type mechanism. And so basically, you have this part of the action, the whipping reel, as I'll call it. I think that's what it's called, is the whipping reel. I ain't 100% sure what it's actually called, but I'm just gonna call it a whipping reel. It screws onto the whipping reel, and then there's a damper spoon. As you can see right there, the damper spoon. They look like little tiny spoons. What they do is the spoon rests behind here on this piece of felt, and when you press a key, as you can see, this moves down as that up there is going up. and when it goes, when this goes forward, it pushes the spoon forward and making this damper pivot. So that's a little bit how the damper works. Now, to get to the springs, all we got to do is remove the dampers, and then we'll have full access to the springs. So I'm going to remove one damper on camera, and most of the time there'll be a flathead screw. Every now and then when you get like newer pianos, there'll be a Phillips head, but I've not worked on a piano that had Phillips head screws. Every piano I worked on has flathead screws. So basically what I want to do is I want to try not to destroy the spring as I'm going back in there, but I like to stick my finger in here just to make sure I'm going to the right exact place where I want to go. And then I'll kind of get that screwdriver in there, and then I'll kind of break it loose. And then very gently, and since it's a flathead, you want to make sure the screwdriver is not sticking halfway off the screw, because you can get in there and actually tear the spring up if you're not trying to replace it, if you're just trying to get back in there to fix it. So you just want to gently turn that screw. Like I said, don't turn it too fast. You want to make sure your screwdriver is not halfway sticking out if it's a flathead. So you kind of lift it up, and the damper slides on out of there. So there you go, and that's the rail. I don't know if you can see, them are the spoons right there. Up here don't have spoons because there's not dampers up here, but you can see the spoons right here. I have seen people modify and put dampers up here though, but that's going to be a different video. As you can see, here's our damper, and I'm just going to sit it right here. Always keep your dampers in order, because unless your piano is a straight strung piano, which that's very rare, you want to keep your dampers in order, because the dampers are at an angle. You can see the damper wire right here. This is called the damper wire. It is at an angle, and you want to make sure that these dampers stay correctly in order, because you don't want anything to be off, because the strings in a piano are going crossways, and you really don't want to mess that up. That'll be a very big job to fix if you get them messed up. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the rest of these dampers. I'm probably going to remove the dampers until somewhat up here. Another thing you can do, if you have the action out of the piano, you can pull the hammers with your hand slightly up and then very gently back. And if there's a hammer that don't follow your hand immediately, that's not putting pressure on your hand to come back, that's when you want to check. Now there's one up here somewhere. I gotta find it. So this one right here will be one, so it's going to be right in between here. So this one right here feels really sluggish to me. You can see how light it is. You can feel a lot of times you'll feel the weight of the bridle strap pulling it back. These two right here don't have hardly any weight at all. And keep in mind, as you go up into the piano, it gets lighter because the hammers are lighter. But like I said, just take a feel for it. Get up here, see what's loose, see if anything's really light, and if it's really, really easy to pull. Like this one's good, that one's good. All these are good. That one feels a little. That one feels a little weak. This one feels really weak. So this will, I know for like 100% fact that this one needs either a spring replacement, or that's what that spring is right here. I'm going to go ahead and say that's what that spring is right there. But I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these, not all of them, but I'm going to remove a few till I get up to here, and then I'll get the camera back and we'll see if we can fix some springs. All right, everybody. So I removed a decent bit of dampers on the treble section. I've got about 9 dampers off of here so far. And I realized the wire that I mentioned earlier that I seen sticking out is the damper wire. The dampers, not the damper wire, I'm sorry, the damper spring. So if I take this damper off, I just unscrewed it and then I noticed it. So if I remove this damper from the piano, I'll notice that when I get this out, I thought I had it loose. There we go. I'll notice if I take the damper, if I kind of, let me bring my phone over here so I can see it a little better. So right here's the damper. You can see that there is a spring right here. That spring right there is actually the damper spring, and it's popping out for some weird reason, and I'm going to have to either replace that or bend that. Probably get up with bending it. It's bent crossways. So I'm going to first start by trying to bend that back out. So I think I fixed it. So I bent it back out. Sometimes the damper springs, sometimes they can get loose, but right here you can kind of see it. Right here's the spring. I got it back in place. It's supposed to be at that part where the lubricant is, just like the hammer butt, where that spring sits in there. It's supposed to be sitting there. So I did fix that issue. So I noticed a few notes in the piano. There was like 2 notes in the piano that were not, that wasn't dampening themselves. It was ringing. And I think this right here is the problem. So basically, when this spring is not in here, when the dampers push, it don't have enough, enough push to push it back against the string. So when you play it, it's gonna push back the damper, and the spring is supposed to immediately push it back. But at the same time, if you don't have a spring, it's going to take it a long time to kind of come back there, or else it won't come back there at all. So that kind of can cause a sticking damper to stick back. That was a real problem with this piano. It had a few notes that done it. I think there was like 2 actually that done it. And I think I actually see the next one right here. Now that I'm looking, right here's the next one. I can already tell you that's exactly what it is. So that damper's going to have to be pulled as well. And a lot of people will tell me, hey, you don't have to remove every single damper just to fix a few springs, which is very true. But the reason I'm removing all the dampers is so I can see all these clearly and see everything back up in here and know that everything's good before I go to put this piano back together, this action back into this piano. So, when you remove dampers, like I said, if you're having damper issues, that's one of the things I would look at is the damper spring. But yeah, I think that was a lot of the problem why I wasn't dampening, because I've checked the damper spoons. They look really good. They look properly adjusted, and I think that right there, I'm 100% that was the problem with a lot of it. But there still is, like right here, right there's one that has a broken spring, so that's going to be replaced. Took a pair of needle nose pliers because I felt the little loop where the old spring was, so I pulled it out just so I knew where the old one was, so I could pull it the rest of the way out when I got some new springs in the mail. But all of these are good on springs. All these have them like they should. This one right here is the only one I've found so far that don't have a spring. As you can see, if I let off, how sluggish it is. Now, if I pull this one over here back, let's see, which one did I just pull? Okay. Now, if I pull this one back, it immediately falls back to the hammer row. So, like I said, when you're doing work like this, only thing wrong with this action, everything with this action was good. Everything else was all on the rear side of the action, and the action had to be pulled to actually fix these problems. But like I said, I'm 100% we're going to get these fixed, and we're going to get the piano back together. But like I said, I'm not going to film me put the piano back together. I'm just trying to fix up these springs. But yeah, that'll basically be the end of this video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Just wanted to kind of give you a little idea. I'll do a spring video replacement here in the near future. Probably not with this piano because I don't have much time. I got to get this piano back together because this piano is very much used by some people, and they use it. But I'm going to go ahead and get off here, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Like I said, basically the point of this video was a video of how to remove the dampers and what to check for when you're looking at sluggish keys that won't fall back properly. And if you hear like a grinding noise when you're playing, that's also a very good indication. Like this hammer right here, this is very, very light. There is hardly any. The only thing pulling against this is the bridle strap. But these right here, they're kind of heavy. But I hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll do my best to get to you. Probably won't be like right off the bat, but I'll get to you eventually. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Have a good one.